Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat, our Sunday night shit show.
The shit show.
The
We need a
shit.
soundtrack that says something,
It
we should
should be like
hire
splotchy, like gas and disgusting noises.
a white rapper or something. It would fit our vibe.
That's funny. Yeah, I like it. How are you? How's it going?
I am good. I have nothing exciting to report, but I'm happy to be here with everybody. How are you? What's new in your world?
Thanks for asking. I have a couple things. I like all the poo emojis. My older son Asher left yesterday, so now we are fully empty nesters in this house.
Party.
We made sure to have a really crazy, awful fight on Friday night in front of Asher, so it would make him feel relief and not sadness about
That's
leaving us.
strategically a good move.
Good parenting.
Unrelated, but this did remind me of a story I haven't shared in a while. My girlfriend at the time was going to Brazil.
Okay.
And she was gone. She just left the airport. And I left a voicemail with my buddy saying, girlfriend's out of town. Let's party. Rager. For who? All the whole thing. And I accidentally left it on her voicemail and not his. So she got that message. And it was benign. I'm not
right.
I've never cheated on anyone in my life. It was just
You're right.
But
did you tell her
Doghouse
that was a joke? Oh, Doghouse, really?
And something weird happened to her flight. So she came back and she showed up and she's like, what was that voicemail? What was that voicemail?
And, that's a really good scene in a movie.
Yeah.
I like it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How long did you guys last after that?
Oh, like 3 years. It was not a big deal.
Okay,
I mean, she trusted me. She
yeah. That is funny.
It was sketchy, though. I admit, you got to own up to what things that appear sketchy.
Yeah. I totally get it. That's very funny, though. Well, speaking of lasting, this is my transition. Today is we've been together for 32 years, but our 23-year wedding anniversary.
Rager?
Today, yeah.
There you go.
I've been prepping for the show all day and he's been watching football. That's what you do. But we're going out for dinner afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah, we got married. Thank you. 4 days after 9/11. So you spend a year planning and having we didn't fight about it, but like fights with family and whatever, and then canceled everything on Tuesday. I mean, obviously not the biggest tragedy of that week. Because we didn't think anybody was going to be able to come. And then my parents were able to come and Josh's parents were able to come. My brother was already here because he was my maid of honor, my man of honor. And so we had enough family together, but a third of our guests couldn't come. So we canceled everything and then had to throw everything back together on Friday before our Saturday wedding. It was a crazy time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. My cousins couldn't come, my bridesmaids, my aunt, my grandmother. I mean, it was a crazy time.
But now you'll never forget. You'll never forget.
I'll never forget. Never forget. And also, someday we need to talk to a real expert, because I'll tell you all of what's being revealed right now that's happening in our faces with bravado by Israel and the IDF. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that now I'm revisiting now that I have a different take on Israel and Mossad and the CIA than I did 23 years ago.
On one hand, people that believe in conspiracy theories tend to believe them all, which is a problem.
Right.
But to not believe any of them are true is also an equal problem, because some of these things, I mean, it's just... there's a deep state. It's just, what do you want to define it as? Like the interests, are they having a cabal meeting? No, but maybe.
I mean, I don't know. We know the USS Liberty. We know that there are false flag attacks. We know there's a lot of stuff that
I think they're just interest groups.
Yeah.
Collectively, they may have a meeting about using their leverage and doing things. Right. But I don't think there's one big supervillain table, personally.
You don't think the WEF in Davos, you don't think that's the supervillain table?
That's one group of supervillains.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I feel like they're the pinnacle.
if I knew DC Comics and Marvel better, I don't have an analogy or a
yeah.
I don't even know what.
I understand what you're saying. You know, I really, and I mean, who cares? Like, The Boys. Have you been watching The Boys at all?
Oh yeah,
That is a good takedown on, you know, that's pretty good, not satire, but you know, a good look at how our society is being run. But somebody wrote or clipped something that must have been posted on Instagram, and it was basically, you know, like, I guess MAGA crowd is like, oh my God, all of the woke crowd is taking over even our superheroes or something. It was like, if you didn't realize that, you know, this was about colonization, or that this person fought the Nazis, or that like you never got it in the first place. And I think
these are the same groups mad at Rage Against the Machine because they got political.
I know. When did you get so political?
Wow.
Yeah. Hope, where's our president? Do we need a president? I mean, this has been the most revealing. If people didn't already understand this, I would think that the vote blue, no matter who crowd, this should have awakened them these past, 50 days, where we don't have a president. Nothing's changed. Nothing matters. It's all just the same shit. The presidential election is all just the show to distract us from what they're really doing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're hiding Biden so that Kamala looks presidential and so that he doesn't look like the mentally gone guy he is. Right. But that puts her in charge, and they're hiding her. I mean, she's coming out and giving speeches, but we're going to get to her. We've got the whole interview she gave, her first unscripted solo interview. And let me tell you, it's the biggest, it's like softball after softball. It's like stuff you would ask the high school president, you know, at the local, at the high school. You're like, hey, what do you think you're going to, what's your favorite color? You know, and she blows these answers. Like, she's terrible at it. And then we're also going to get to the Breakfast Club interview. Lots of clips of that.
The DNC has put out their memos, their marching orders, and it reminds me of that Sinclair video compilation of all the different local newscasters saying the exact same thing. Like, you can see, you do a word search or keyword search, and they're all, you know, they're all reading from the same script. All right, but first we should do our cheers to our members, our wonderful members. Look at that. We're almost out of space.
We filled the last column. Thank you, guys.
Filled the last column. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It means a ton to both of us, and we love doing this, and we love hanging out with all of you guys. So thank you for being so generous. And I don't know, what do you think, Pat? Are you going to change the font or just create new columns?
I'm going to make 3 different slides.
Just like
we're going to fill them all up. It's just going to be maybe a video with some rap song, like I said.
I like it. All right. And yes, my Pat's favorite part of the show, when I tell everybody, please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell, please. It helps with the algorithm, and the likes help, and all that kind of stuff really help. So thank you. Thank you. And
film the police.
Yes. Fantastic. Absolutely. Film the police every chance you get. Even though, like, you know, you go between, like, you want to film them and do so much more, and also, oh my God, they have like hair triggers, and anything is enough to make them feel threatened because they're the biggest fucking cry bullies in the world, and they'll just kill a person if they don't like it. So it's like,
it's just amazing what they will do, knowing that their body cam is on, and that knowing that 3 people have cell phones out on them. But you're still safer with the cell phone recording them, for sure. I mean, I personally had an instance here I've talked about before where there was hit and run by my house, and the cops, this guy was hurt. The guy had clearly a punctured lung, could barely breathe, and they weren't going to get this guy an ambulance. And so I went off on the cops hard, but I did that because my friend was with me, and I said, record it all. And I used my white privilege to scream at these fuckers for an hour until they got the goddamn ambulance there. And I had footage of the actual car driving off that hit this person.
Right.
and they didn't want to see it. It took me an hour to get a chief to say, email me. He'll take the video via email. And I never heard back from them.
Of course.
So that's the cops.
The person who filmed Eric Garner getting choked by a police and killed, what was that, 12 years ago or something, for selling loose cigarettes, which I'd never heard that before. But when I heard it, I couldn't imagine it was just like, oh, he's just selling them out of the pack. That's the big criminal charge.
Yeah.
The person who filmed it went to jail.
That's crazy.
Anyway, yes, always film the police. And if you have the courage to yell at them or do whatever you need to do, hats off to you. Cheers to you. Which, do you see what I did there?
Yeah, a little
brings
pivot.
Us to our cheers, filmed by our friend, journalist Chuck Modi, who was filming a protest in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I think he was just interviewing this guy, and it just happened to be while they were breaking up the protesters. So it's just a unplanned moment, really, here captured.
That's it. Are you pushing?
All these viruses and kids getting blown up. They dropping 2,000-ton bombs or something on people. It's insane. You never heard of this stuff before. And all these people are getting paychecks, all sitting there acting like y'all never seen nothing. Y'all ain't checked the news. Check online. There's 200,000 people that died. And y'all all sitting there trying to intimidate the people that's speaking up. Y'all can't even say that they said anything wrong or did anything wrong. And everybody doing everything within the law. It's the law. We have the right to protest. You don't have the right to intimidate people. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Why do you think they broke up the protest? I think they're using their bikes and shoving people.
Because they're a mob. They're a gang. They don't even know what they're doing. They don't even have any idea. If you go and ask them a question, they just know that the next person beside them doing the same thing. They're just getting orders over the radio. Everybody over here already know what's happening. A genocide is happening, and both the people that's running for president is pushing it. So what y'all got to say? Anybody? Anybody?
Huge cheers to Joe. Wait a second. I wrote it down. Joe James 215. That takes a lot of courage because those cops would love nothing more than to have another notch on their belt. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Chuck Modi tracked him down on Instagram as Joe James 215. And apparently he's on Twitter with the same handle, but he hasn't used Twitter, but we're trying to get a lot of people to follow him because he deserves it. And we want to hear more from him. So
absolutely.
Give him a like.
To you, Joe. All right. Should we put the wheel up, have a little bit of joy before we suffer through all these different interviews?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's see it. All right, here we go.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, look at that. All right.
Perfect. Let's see some hangry kittens here.
Let's see it.
Okay, I got you. Hold on.
Oh my.
That's really cute. Love that. I love that. Thanks for bringing some joy into my life, Pat.
That's all we got. Let's get to the miserable shit.
Let's go.
Should we start with Kamala's interview?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see it. Then we'll get to the fun.
So this was on a local radio station in Philly, was it? I think.
It is. I wrote this down. Also, why can't I see anything? It is. What
this is
did
why
I
I
do?
don't take notes. Come on.
Oh, ABC Action News anchor Brian Taff, but I don't know what state or city it was in.
I think it might actually be on screen when I put it.
Okay, but like not even a major interview by herself. It's just kind of interesting. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get her feet wet with these local things, but their local things are all going to go national when she makes a flub. So she might as well just get it on.
Yeah,
like,
I know. Ridiculous.
Here she goes.
All right, here we go.
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for your time today. Our audience appreciates your time as well.
Of course.
Oops. As you know, we're sitting here in a state and arguably in front of an audience that 54 days from now could decide the outcome of this presidential election. Yeah. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. Mm-hmm. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
One or two specific things. Drill down. Let's hear her response.
Here we go.
Listen for the one or two things for a special prize.
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers. And I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn, you know? And
lawns for everyone. Access
and I
to
was
lawns.
Raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity. And that we as Americans have a beautiful character. You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those
There's
dreams
that word,
and ambitions.
access.
So when I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people, and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother, you know, worked.
What's her whole thing with small business? Like, that actually was the first time that I've heard her mention, what'd she say, construction workers, teachers, did she say plumbers? I don't even know what. Wait, I can't see you. My eyes. Whoops, not the right one. Oh, Pat, I know you wanted the blue background, but I can't see you. It's always about the small businesses. And the lawn, like, what is she even talking about? Because we're about to go into the whole thing where she talks about tax credits again and saving for your down payment. Like,
the small business thing, I think it's just a knock that Republicans are always saying that Democrats are killing small businesses. You know, all the regulations kill small businesses. So that's her way of telegraphing to the right, we're not going to regulate. We're going to take all the red tape off things for small businesses, but that's not really, it's just pandering. She's trying to pander to middle-class America for the swing states.
It's so gross. And also the thing about, I mean, yes, Americans are hardworking. Like, they're working 3 jobs and can't even afford a regular life right now. But I also, like, within that framing, there is coding that you kind of only deserve. It like continues this idea of meritocracy, and you really only deserve healthcare. Healthcare is not a human right. You work hard, you get a good job, then maybe you'll get good insurance. Yeah.
You'll get access.
You'll get access. Like, everybody deserves to have a house. Even if you don't work, you deserve to have a house. Like, you deserve to eat. You deserve healthcare. You deserve clean water and air just for being alive. You don't have to prove that you're hardworking. And by the way, probably everybody in this country works harder than the people who own the most wealth in this country. So like, I really despise that whole framing, but I know she's going after her 200 Republican new endorsements. Okay.
Doing well there.
Yeah.
Long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us. We used to call her, I still call her, our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood, and she was a community leader. She hired locally, she mentored. Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really, I think, the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000.
Can you start it with a tax deduction?
Can you start it with the tax? Can you get what was her other thing? Can you buy a home or home turned into a tax credit as well?
Yeah. Can I get an advance on my tax credit, please?
If you get all this money somehow, you'll get some of it back. Is the moral of her opportunity? That's not an opportunity if you can't save $50,000 to start your small business.
Work harder. Are you pressing it or am I?
Nope. Hands off.
Oh, okay. It's on me. I got the pack.
But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it. Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable. So part of my plan is to work with the private sector and housing developers to give them a tax credit, to be able to partner with us as the government.
And there it is. Her housing plan is working with the private investors. So BlackRock is going to get a cushy ass sweet deal.
Deregulating all of the housing they are going to make billions of dollars on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
my goal is 3.
I'm seeing this. There, we hear constantly there's like however many houses that are empty for every homeless person, right? Like there really actually isn't a housing shortage, but they've built expensive McMansions thinking, and they'd rather have those sit empty than let people live in them, right? Okay, sorry. I'm already like hyperventilating. Let's keep going. I got it. I'm pushing play. I heard your beer
to give them
again.
A tax credit. To be able to partner with us as the government to build, and my goal is 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. In addition, to help people who just want to get their foot in the door, literally. And so giving first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance to be able to just get in the door, and then they will do the work that they need to do to save and to pay that mortgage and to build wealth for themselves and their family. These are
okay. Down payment assistance is now the new phrasing here.
Access to down payment assistance.
Yeah, let's see how that plans, because her initial plan was like it only.
I thought it sounded like the very first time she spoke, it was almost, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to happen this way, but it sounded more like you were going to get the $25,000 to use towards your down payment.
Right. And people had pointed out that she was calling for, you had to have gone like, I think 18 months. Somebody correct me on this. I'm kind of fuzzy on it. Without a late payment for your rent.
Oh my God.
Which is ridiculous. Like I have no problem making my rent.
Right.
But I'm late all the time just because I'm juggling priorities. You get busy, that it's a $50 fine if I'm late. So sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, I'll be late, $50. So now I can't get a house for 18 more months.
And also, I mean, by the way, like I know probably the entertainment business is different, but you can turn something in and wait 6 months to get paid for something you already worked a year and a half doing. And then you have to fight. And then they're like, well, we haven't seen the da-da-da yet. We're still ironing this out. Like, so if you happen to be somebody who has a lot of money, then it really doesn't matter because it's like, it's just you're just moving time a little bit. But for people who don't have a lot of money, they need to move money, and they don't have that money to move. And so, banks make billions of dollars on late fees and overdraft checks every single year. And that's another tax on poor people, because rich people have and rich people, by the way, will bilk their workers out of, what is it, $50 billion a year? Is that, or I'm probably going to get that number wrong. 500 billion, whatever, more than all the petty thefts put together. But
the whole system,
they can wait that out and then just pay a fine at some point. And meanwhile, all those people haven't been paid. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I just was going to add, the whole system is built to penalize the poor people, and the people that hold the money, that are withholding the money that could maybe you earn, but you can't pay your rent because you don't have it yet. Well, they're making interest on that money. Yeah. And when they're screwing over not just you, but 100 million of you for a small amount for interest for like 3 days or something that they're holding this money, they make a ton of money.
Yeah.
So,
and because it's one big mega corporation, they're making interest on it, whether it's with their BlackRock or their bank, or like it's all just their money, or it's already gone. It's already to all of them. Jenna, that's so funny. Great minds. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, am I going to do this?
Roll it.
Okay.
Some examples of what I mean when I talk about an opportunity economy, and a lot of it has to do with just the community I was raised in and the people that I admired, who work hard, and deserve to have, their dreams fulfilled because they're prepared to work for it.
You talked at the debate and previous appearances about turning the page on the past. And in fact, here today in Johnstown, you're talking about a new way forward. Yeah. I think some people have a question, given maybe your current role as Vice President of the United States, how different you are from Joe Biden. And so I wonder if there are one or two spots, policy areas or approaches where you would say, I'm a different person.
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. And, I offer a new generation of leadership. And
what does that mean?
So, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where it's...
For example, the thing I just said to distract from actually answering
we're not going backwards.
Before, let me just explain did you not hear what I said about the fucking opportunity economy here, buddy?
Like, why are you asking me? Repeat. It's redundant. Keep going.
It's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work, and maybe focusing on, again, the aspirations and the dreams, but also just recognizing that at this moment in time, some of the stuff we could take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore. For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families for the first year of their child's life.
You could have passed this. You're president. You got the presidency and the vice presidency right now. You let it lapse.
And then only fought for it again once the Republicans took over the House. Yep.
Right. And the credit they're pushing out here now is just for new moms for the first year. I mean, new parents for the first year. It's not for everybody with kids. It's not, it's just it's even narrowed down further.
And again, sorry. And also, I mean, when you create an economy like this, or incentives like this, you pit people against each other, right? Like, if we had more regulations on housing, if big companies weren't allowed to sweep them all up, and then buy like Redfin and, Zillow and fix the prices. And if our minimum wage were correlated to the cost of living and were an actual living wage, and if everybody had healthcare, then it wouldn't be quite so necessary to give $6,000 to new families in the first year of, like, okay. And then all of a sudden what's going to happen is people are like, wait a second, I had to put my kid in daycare 5 years ago. Like you start pitting people against each other. Can we just change the whole system? But she'll never do that. It's all these ridiculous, nips and tucks around the edge of a failing system.
And she never calls for regulating the housing industry and getting these BlackRocks to divest and not divest, but break them up, force them to sell their holdings in these houses that are just sitting around. Make it so a bank can't own 10 houses. Why should a bank own 10 houses? You know, they really own thousands, but like, what is a bank doing in that business?
Yeah. Yep. She will never do that. Those are her investors. Those are her donors.
Those are her private parties that are going to save the housing industry in her new plan.
Without regulations. Let's see how that works out. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. God, we're really making this painful. Like it's an 11-minute interview.
Right,
we're just gonna,
let's just let it rip for a little bit.
A little bit. Brace yourselves. Am I pressing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Very critical stage of development of a child. And a lot of young parents need the help to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes for their kids. And so my approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years.
It's a current moment
to
10 to 20
catch
years.
up to the 21st century around, again, capacity, but also challenges.
Challenges.
God,
Crime and public safety are two major issues right at the forefront of voters' minds. In Philadelphia as well, where crime is a significant issue. When we talk about crime, the conversation turns to gun safety as well. And I think you actually probably caught a lot of people off guard, maybe a bit by surprise in the debate the other night when you mentioned that you are a gun owner. I know you said it in 2019 as well. I want to talk about your values on this issue. When it comes to gun ownership, where do you draw the line in America on gun ownership and gun use?
Well, like you said, Brian, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz, my running mate, is also a gun owner. We're not taking anybody's guns away. I support the Second Amendment, and I support reasonable gun safety laws. Part of my approach to this is I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I have personally looked at autopsies. I have personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body. And so
we have all witnessed dead Palestinian babies and beheaded, you know, like, so fuck you. Like you're some rare person that got to see victims of shootings. Like, fuck off. I just hate her for that.
I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war. They were literally
that we are funding and so happily
a lot of human beings quickly.
I mean,
I say we need universal background checks. The majority of NRA members support that. Why? Because it's just reasonable. You just might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You just might want to know.
Two final questions, if I might.
Sure.
On the appeal of the man you were running against, as you drove here today, you likely saw a lot of Trump signs.
Pain.
He has an historic appeal in this country. And as you are someone running against him and trying to understand that, I wonder how you distill it. What do you understand his appeal to be? And how do you speak to his voters, or maybe people who just share his values but are open to something else?
I, based on experience and a lived experience.
Oh my God.
In my heart, I know, in my soul, I know that the vast majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us. And I also believe that I am accurate in knowing that most Americans want a leader who brings us together as Americans and not someone who professes to be a leader who is trying to have us point our fingers at each other. I think people are exhausted with that approach, to be honest with you.
No.
I think people
he sounds like
want
me when I'm trying to be serious.
a leader who has common sense and tries to find common ground. I'm supported by over 200 Republicans who worked for both Presidents Bush, John McCain, and Mitt Romney. I'm supported by the former Vice President Dick Cheney,
how about your own base?
Former Congressmember Liz Cheney. And I think people are more willing now in light of the hate and division that we see coming out of Donald Trump, to say, hey, let's put country first. And I think that just makes us stronger and more healthy as a country. To say, look, we can all debate our differences around, various policies, but let's stop with the division. Like, enough of that. Let's bring everybody together.
And finally, as you introduce yourself to America in a new way, they've heard much of your story at the Democratic National Convention
the big policy.
in that debate earlier this week. If
She ends on a strong policy point
that
here.
you wish Americans knew about who Kamala Harris is, that you don't think they know yet, what would that be?
I don't know. I mean, probably it's not very different from anybody watching right now. I love my family. One of my favorite things that I lately have not been able to do is Sunday family dinner. I love to cook. I have incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still my best friend. I think that, I have a career that really, and I said it the other day, as a career prosecutor, I never asked a victim of crime, were they a Republican or a Democrat. The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay? And I think that's the approach that most Americans want, regardless of who they voted for in the last election, in terms of turning the page and charting the way forward.
I imagine you're looking forward to cooking Sunday dinner again.
I am looking forward. Yes, I am looking forward to cooking. With the whole family gets involved, the kids each have their role. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
funny
Thank
because
you, Brian. Thank you.
That's where she first sounded like she was being honest, right?
Right. When it's over, she's like,
but then she's like, her real voice comes out. Everything else, and I mean, I believe that she likes cooking and likes Sunday dinner. I have no problem with any of that kind of stuff. Actually, I believe that our country is not so divided. Like, I hate when people say that. I don't think our country is so divided. I mean, obviously there are some awful people in different places, but like, for the most part, I don't think we're so that part of it is fine. I have no issue with any of that, but so many, as I think Zainab wrote in there, we've talked about so many of her policies are Trump policies, are Biden policies. So the only real difference is no mean tweets. That's it. Like, people don't want, that's it.
There's a lot of harm in her running an entire campaign that never had to appeal to the left, because she's out there saying to the world, these Republican ideas are all the right ideas, and you got to trust me to implement your ideas on the right that we now agree with here. So there's consensus among Democrats and Republicans that these right policies are where we should be. They're not hearing anything from the left. They didn't get a primary. They didn't get anything to hear a counter narrative to this bullshit that they're stoked. The donors are stoked. Whoever wins, they don't give a fuck because progressive policy is dead.
It is dead. And he didn't ask her. I mean, why would this guy, what's his name, Brian, whatever the hell, Taft, that nobody's ever heard of? Yeah,
no pushback
exactly. Like,
questions.
I hear you're a gun owner. Yay. Why, no pushback on the whole thing about, I'm not going to ban fracking. Why? What changed? Did information change? No. I got more donors. Not Medicare for all. Like, the border. But we're gonna. Yeah.
He really hit it home with the Palestine questions. Like, we're literally in a war where the whole world's accusing us of genocide, and let's just not talk about that.
Well,
nothing.
You don't. And she even, like, if I were she, I would not mention weapons of war. If what she wants to do is pretend that she doesn't support this genocide, which on some level she's kind of hoping that, and clearly, and we're going to get into this, but like, a lot of liberals are fine believing that. Don't talk about a weapon of war and what it does to a child's body. We are seeing it every day.
I mean, look, honestly, that part annoyed me the most, because her acting like she's seen stuff we haven't seen because, she's a prosecutor, so she saw some dead bodies. Like, we see the the result of her actions and the policy she supports every day.
Just like, and
couldn't hate her more. The more she talks, the more I hate her.
I
think most people agree.
I agree. And, I say like children and babies a lot. It's equally horrible when women and men, like, I don't mean to make it like, I mean, I know everybody knows that, but like people are being destroyed, and she's part of it. She's fine with it. She has no change, no plans, nothing matters. Okay. So, do you want to talk a little bit about how that's going for her? I mean, obviously super excited to tell everybody about her Republican donors, 200 plus guys, Bush, McCain, Romney, former staffers have endorsed Kamala Harris, over 200 of them. I don't know why that was such a mush salad for me. My words were all inverted, but anyway, yeah.
Breaking news though. We got more. 17 former Reagan staffers. We're going to go to Reagan now.
I mean, it is the complete takeover of the Democratic Party by the George W. Bush, Lincoln Project, war criminals, and Ronald Reagan also. Nobody should be like, listen, what's the line? What is the line? I know, like, my handle is purity tester, right? Because I'm always being criticized for that by people. You're so tough. You're so hard. It could be anything. Is it the environment? Is it Medicare for all? Is it genocide? Is it stealing an election? Like, when do you say, is it lying us into war, killing 1 million Iraqis, displacing millions more in the Middle East? When do you say, I don't need Dick Cheney's endorsement, thank you? If it were David Duke, would she say no? Like, when is the time that a person says, you can vote for whoever you want, I will not be proud that I've brought you into my fold? We're not that big a tent. When do they ever say that about people on the right?
Yeah, I think Bernie said no to a few endorsements, but he's like the only person I can think of.
He returned either a $200 or $400 check from a woman who was married to a billionaire. He didn't even endorse his own son when his son was running for office. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
But instead, we've got Kamala running literal commercials. Let's show her commercial here. This should win over a lot of the lefties.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And when one man is enslaved, all are not free.
American presidents, Republican and Democrat, have always defied Russia's communist dictators and defended American ideals. Kamala Harris gets this.
If we stand by while an aggressor invades its neighbor with impunity, they will keep going.
Kamala Harris will stand up to Putin, protect our allies, and keep us safe.
Did she just say invading the country next door?
Yes, she did.
What? They know this is a problem for them, right? Like, why is that the ad? They just do not care at all about losing.
Yeah.
They would rather kill every Palestinian, destroy all of Gaza and the West Bank, get us into a third world war, than stop genociding.
Absolutely. But the point of that ad was to say, I'm not a communist. That was the entire point of the ad. Like, I'm with Reagan, I'm with JFK, I'm anti-communist. Although JFK, I don't know if he was, somebody checked.
I know that's also
anti-communist he was, but like, that was the point of it. She's for war. She's anti-Russia. She's not a communist. So you lefties,
right, chill
out. She's not on your side.
Well, it's not going great for her because some polling has just come out. Swing states. Okay, this is like a little bit of a few layers that I'm just gonna like dig into with my readers here. But so basically, this is a poll that was done by Real Clear Politics, the state polling averages, the analysis of 2020 third-party votes in the swing states versus what's projected for 2024 third-party votes in the swing states. So in every single swing state except for Nevada and Pennsylvania, she is getting, okay, more people are voting third party, projected to vote third party. So more people are projected to vote third party in Georgia by 70,000 votes, Michigan by 300,000 votes, North Carolina by 330,000 votes, and Wisconsin by almost 200. No, sorry. Yeah, by almost 200,000 votes. So this is a problem. This is a huge problem. And they know that.
And they know that. And they know that the way you would easily win this election is to change course just a little bit on the policy in Israel. It would be enough probably to get past the margins of the swing voters. So, you know, when they tell us we're causing this election to go to Trump, look, they can change anytime they want, a little smidge of misdirection and just lie to us even. But they can't even lie to us about this.
That is the thing that's actually really confounding. I don't understand why she won't lie. I mean, she lies about every other thing, but it like just sounds good, right? Like opportunity economy or whatever the hell, right?
Well, I think they won't lie now, partially because Trump has been so bad and you know, there's a benefit to just keeping the donors happy. You know, if you can win it without the lie, without moving left a little bit, we're really fucked. And that's what they want. They want us really fucked. But as it goes down farther the line, the closer it gets, we'll probably get a lie about it. You know, so probably, and it's just going to be rhetorical. It'll just be a shift in language, just a little bit, but we'll get something like that the closer it comes to election day. Guaranteed.
This digs down a little deeper to Muslim voters in these 3 swing states who are committing to vote for Jill Stein for president over Harris or Trump.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Wisconsin, Arizona, Michigan. I mean, I don't know how, honestly, I keep thinking of the thing that I saw liberals, you know, post and tweet in 2020 or 2016. You know, you can just unfriend me now. Maybe not every Donald Trump voter is a racist, but his racism didn't prevent you from voting for him. You know, but if you say not every Kamala supporter is a genocidal maniac, but her genocidal mania isn't preventing you from voting, they'll say Trump will be worse. That's the only thing. It's always just Trump. They cannot talk about policy without bringing in Trump.
If you want to show me how Trump could be worse than the genocide that has existed, that has all happened under your watch.
When Trump was president for 4 years already. Like we thought we had him for 4 years.
You can put out hypotheticals of things he may do that would be worse for Palestinians, but Palestinians are getting genocided now. And until you tell us you're going to stop doing that, you can't keep saying the other guy would be worse on it because you are committing it right now. You are committing the crime.
Right.
As a prosecutor, you should know the difference between a hypothetical crime and the person committing the crime.
Right. And also know your audience, because most of the people who are refusing to vote for her are not going to then turn around and vote for Trump. They're either going to stay home or they're going to vote for third party. Right. So it's not like you tell me Trump would be worse. I don't know how you could be worse, but okay. I mean, I don't know, 1% worse. Like I even saw people have like, you know, even if he killed one more person, that would make him worse. And so it's your duty to vote for like, it's like, oh my God, like, why are we having a conversation about who does more genocide? I'm not voting for any genocide. I will never vote for genocide.
Absolutely. But all those, even if you're doing the math on these things and you're that crazy person, right?
Right.
Well, what throws their whole calculations off is, well, what if you never change the Democratic Party? You're just letting the Democratic Party go right forever. Right. So what's the long-term impact of just never saying, no, we can't fucking support this shit? You're not going to get our votes unless you start supporting us, because we've been calling for that before I was born. People were saying this is ridiculous. This lesser evil bullshit. Where's that graphic you pulled? And
okay. There's two that I think that are really important. This is Hannah Arendt. Okay. So this is probably from the 40s When out of fear, you twist the lesser evil into the lie that it is something good, you eventually rob people of the capacity to differentiate between good and evil. Then, 25, 30 years later,
This one I love, and I hope you can read it all, unfortunately.
Yeah, here I go with my readers.
But it's so good and accurate. And this is 1972, where a reasonable person, although he's kind of crazy,
52 years ago. Like, just so we know, like, they have been doing this bullshit for 52 years, and we now have a Democratic regime that is George W. Bush. Basically.
And you've got a public so convinced that
that's
a genocide is not a red line in this situation.
Nope. Running third party is. They hate Ralph Nader, but they love George W. Bush. That's the real issue this time, he said, beating Nixon. It's hard to even guess how much damage those bastards will do if they get in for another 4 years. The argument was familiar. I'd even made it myself here and there, but I was beginning to sense something very depressing about it. How many more of these goddamn elections are we going to have to write off as lame, but regrettably necessary holding actions? And how many more of these stinking double downer sideshows will we have to go through before we can get ourselves straight enough to put together some kind of national election that will give me and the at least 20 million people I tend to agree with a chance to vote for something instead of always being faced with that old familiar choice between the lesser of two evils? Now, with another one of these big bogus showdowns looming down on us, I can already pick up the stench of another bummer. I understand, along with a lot of other people, that the big thing this year is beating Nixon. But that was also the big thing, as I recall, 12 years ago in 1960. And as far as I can tell, we've gone from bad to worse to rotten since then. And the outlook is for more of the same. I mean,
he called it
2 years ago.
And he was referring back to Nixon's first term in 1960. So go even further back. And you can keep probably extending this forever. It's strategically, it's all they got. Like, if your guys really suck, well, the other guy's worse. And that's the playbook. And the donors fucking love this. They love this game. And we can't keep playing.
Setup. We can't, for so many different reasons, we can't. But the worst thing, I think, is to reward the Democrats with your support when they are flagrantly going against everything that 80% of their party wants. Even before genocide, like 80% of Democrats want Medicare for all, want Green New Deal, want a living wage. Like, what are we having to fight for here? It's fucking ridiculous. And then you're going to add genocide on top of that, and they still aren't going to budge, not even if it means losing to Donald Trump.
That's where it should be so obvious, because, you know, if democracy is at stake, you can win this thing with no fucking problem by just supporting just take every issue and say, you know what? My policy is if 51% of the country supports it, I'm in that camp. Come out there and say that. That's your whole campaign. Gun control, 60. Well, we got 80% of the people want gun control. I'm for it then. Just go down the list. You win the election hands down. You say, I am the people's candidate. No questions asked, you win.
I mean, I get a little nervous when I'm like, oh, what would that mean about COVID? I mean, they've done such a mind job on people that they don't even know. But like, actually, when they poll people before they were, propagandized that it's over and it's just a cold, but they don't even think that anymore. I know we're not going to talk COVID today, but like what they are doing with climate and COVID and genocide and homelessness and wages, like they are showing us every single day that they despise us. We cannot die fast enough for them. Just don't.
Well, they might be speeding it up because Biden wants to send long-range missiles into Russia.
Oh my God.
Like, hey, let's just start World War III with Russia, literally. And let's just keep supporting the genocide until the whole Middle East hates us and wants to unify to attack us.
I mean, it's coming. The other thing, and a lot Israelis are saying this, even ones who, liberal Zionists who seem still to be in favor of we're not doing enough to genocide Palestinians, we just need our hostages back. but they are aware that this is the downfall of Israel. Like Israel will not exist the way it is now in 5 years. It can't. It's done.
No way. And as their number one ally, the top country that supported this, enabled this, you think that's going to have an impact on us? Yes.
100%. Yes.
And then let's just take that back to which party supported that? Which party did that? That was Democrats that did that. So when the whole world is like, the Democrats did that.
Yep.
You think that's good for the Democratic Party? Or do you think it'd be better for the Democratic Party if their own voters stood up and say, we don't support this?
And this is why, and it's the tragedy of Obama was, so many different things, but he had that whole, Obama for America grassroots. Like that was the first time that like they were using the internet, and not the first time, but like in my lifetime where it really felt like grassroots and young people and the excitement for change. And then the second he took office and put the Citibank cabinet in, made them his cabinet, or their recommendations all became his cabinet, he disbanded Obama for America. Because that is where the change actually happens, right? Bernie, I don't even know, has he gone on any? I think he was with Crystal Ball once and like prohibited Kyle from being there, which is sort of funny because like I can't imagine he would have gotten a hardball question from him, but whatever. Okay. But like basically there's no inside strategy as soon as they get into office. And that's the thing, that was the thing that FDR used when he was talking to his capitalist cronies. They're going to bring pitchforks for us. And actually it's what LBJ, talked to with Martin Luther King Jr. Like, I need you out there to show everybody that we don't have a choice. We should be their excuse, but they don't give a fuck about us. Sorry.
The smartest thing they ever did was bring Bernie into the fold and just neuter him.
Yeah.
They neutered the movement. We're all out here still on different fronts fighting stuff, but he's not leading a movement anymore. And he could have kept the movement intact under his leadership.
Yep.
And still directed us to actually make changes to the Democratic Party instead of kowtow to the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Like, I do understand why, but like, yeah, that's the way it should have gone. Okay, I acquiesce because we can't have Trump. I'm going to support my good friend Joe, whatever the fuck, but I'm going to make your life hard, Joe. And instead, I even remember in that interview with Crystal Ball, and he kind of bristled when she was like, so what's the plan? He was like, you don't know what's happening in the back rooms. Really? Well, okay. Like we've heard that. Now we hear it from AOC, right? There's a strategy here. The 4D chess.
Which is probably taking us to the second part of our show.
Yeah. Okay. Should we spin the wheel? Should we have like a moment?
Yeah, let's spin the wheel and we'll get to the attacks on the Green Party and third parties and AOC being a terrible human being, which we all probably know.
But she does have quite a bit of company.
Yeah, baby.
Wait, do we have a second puppet? We do, right?
We do.
Okay, but I also think right before that, it's time to call just a little bit to make an audible, especially for Sunday night football. Making an audible.
Do it.
An audible. Oh, so sad.
There. Oh, licking the bottle.
I did. And that's how I chipped my tooth in the first part. I just banged it into my tooth and I chipped it a few weeks ago. I just got it fixed. Okay. But I
got more cats for you to ease the pain here. Oh, God, that reminds me of another story. if I should share this one though.
Very cute. I like it. It's
Yep.
good, Pat. We really need those moments of joy. Pat finds all the fun stuff. He finds all the animal stuff.
I'm going to overshare here again, just because that
Okay.
reminded me of another thing.
Let's do it.
Do you see the video where the cat was pulling back the door stopper and letting it go?
I didn't. I was actually so worried about my chipped tooth that.
Oh, well, anyway, the cat reaches underneath, grabs the doorknob stopper and pulls it back.
Oh, wow.
So
Smart.
the very first time that I was getting intimate with who would become my girlfriend of many years.
Not judging.
Pablo was not used to having the door shut to the bedroom on him. And he went down there, and I swear to God, like 20 times in a row, we would see the paw go down there. He'd grab the thing and flick it back. And it just...
The door stopped.
The door stopped. And it killed the vibe, obviously, but it was hilarious. And
hilarious.
Jealous cat.
We have a jealous dog. Does not like intimacy. She is infatuated with Josh. Infatuated. So she just howls. It's very funny.
Yeah. All right.
My mom told me when she first was living with my dad, he had a dog and she had a cat that they brought to the relationship. And when she would meet my dad's friends, like when they were first dating, the friends would ask how my father's dog was dealing with my mom. Like, how's Natasha taking it? She's like, what the hell cares how Natasha's taking it? But anyway, very funny.
That reminds me of my dad is so passive with pets. They just let the pets walk all over him.
Yeah.
Like I was over at their house one time. I'm like, Dad, look down. And the dog's just going to business on him. He's just like, yeah, we just let the dog hump us. That's how it is here in our house. The Cody household.
We want it to be happy.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, moving on. Oh, here we go. It's really ugly. We have almost all of it, but we pulled lots of different smaller clips. So, God, I have so many things I want to say about this because I thought Jill Stein and Butch Ware really handled themselves beautifully when they were like ambushed, sabotaged by especially Angela Rye, but like the whole thing, I think they knew what was going to happen, right? They've had other people on who they like sucked up to and were incredibly kind and did not push as hard as they did this. But then, and
just to set it up, I just want to make sure people know we're talking about the Breakfast Club interview with Jill Stein.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yes, you're right.
Just the details.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I only know the main guys, Charlemagne the God and Angela Rye. I don't know the name of the other two hosts who were there. But the other thing I did just want to say is the difference between the way Jill Stein kept her cool when she was getting pummeled from these people with really bad faith, disgusting attacks, and the way, do you remember Marianne Williamson when she went on RBN and like lost it and had to bolt? It was just kind of interesting. Anyway,
embarrassing.
This is Angela Rye talking to Jill Stein with disgusting DNC talking point contempt.
Yeah, and who she is.
Sorry, say it again.
Angela Rye is literally a DNC insider.
Oh yeah, CNN pundit. Like
she's not a part of their show. She's here on the show to attack Jill Stein.
100%. Yes. I see people say, Kimmy, I'm sorry. Kimmy says she can't watch it again.
We're not watching the whole thing. Don't worry.
We're not. We're
worry.
doing little bits, but I know it's triggering. Okay, here we go.
I get it.
Am I pressing it or are you? I am. Okay, here I go. Sorry. We need a green light. Go. Here I am.
The only thing that I would say to you is I think it's very dangerous rhetoric to say there are two sides of the same coin. I do think it's important for us to
dangerous
understand.
to the Democrats, yes.
I think it's dangerous to all of us, actually.
Yeah,
I don't have the privilege.
we disagree.
I understand. We do on a lot, but we also agree on a lot. But here's one thing I think we can agree on. Either you win or lose this election. There's really no in between. Dr. Stein, in 2002, you ran for governor of Massachusetts and you lost. In 2004, you ran for state representative in Massachusetts and you lost. In 2006, you ran for secretary of the Commonwealth. You also lost. In 2010, you ran for governor again, this time against the first black governor in Massachusetts, Deval Patrick. You lost. In 2012, you ran against this country's first black president and you got just less than 0.5% of total.
Sorry. Kimmy just wrote that we're going to get dinged because it's iHeart. So I'm going to share it instead. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Didn't even think about that.
Will that ding us? I think if we stop and start it, it won't. Sorry, guys. I'll fast forward it so you don't have to. All right. I'm going to stop sharing the wheel for a second because otherwise I'm going to be the one who loses my connection here.
All right. Well, while you get that sorted, let's listen to a Trump song. Buy us some time to get this dialed in.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
People of Springfield, please don't eat my cats. Why would you do that? Eat something else. People of Springfield, please don't eat my dog. Here's a catalog of other things to eat.
They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
Pat, I feel like you opened a whole can of worms because I had a lot I wanted to say about that, but now we're into the Breakfast Club video.
All right. Well, just to cover our bases real quick, we don't want to encourage anybody to actually believe that they're eating the cats and the dogs. They're not eating it.
Specifically about Haitians, that it was like a racist thing against Haitians in Springfield.
Entirely racist, unfounded, started by Nazis. No evidence behind it.
True Nazi.
A literal Nazi at a town hall meeting. It's garbage. We don't want to look. Obviously, we all understand this. It's funny. It's funny because Trump is ridiculous, and this is an unfounded bullshit argument. It's not funny because they're making fun of Haitians or
now having like real world consequences where there are bomb threats. They had to close a couple schools on Friday. I mean, he's so evil and vile. Now, see, I have to do this sidetrack for a second because I'm so mad. I'm so mad about all of this. I just have to say really quickly, he's evil and vile. This started with these disgusting Blood Tribe members lying. It's a neo-Nazi group, very excited that Trump, relays their false claim that started, I think, August 27th by this guy who's number 2 in the blood tribe, Drake Barents. Total lie. And there are KKK rallies now. Foreigners force the Haitians out. I mean, this is all such like disgusting racism, and it's dangerous. People are going to get hurt. The New York Post is in on it now. Like, why do you need to know that it was a Haitian motorist who made an illegal turn in Springfield, Ohio, and smashed into a mom driving with autistic daughters? Like, what? I mean, was that intentional? Is it because he's Haitian? No. Like, I mean, there's nothing to justify or to pique anybody's curiosity that it was anything other than a bad driving, right? But what we can't forget is, as vile as these, obviously Nazis are, and Trump and JD Vance, who admits, and we even have the clip of that he made it up, but it's to move a point about immigration and how it's hurting the community, even though none of this is true. And the one person who they pointed to who did eat a neighbor's cat was not only not Haitian, but lived 100 miles away. Okay. Yes. But let's just remember that this was 2021. This was Biden coming into office, and his border patrol were whipping Haitian refugees from their cop horses. Then he deported 20,000 people a year into his regime. Then he had expelled more than 26,000 a few months later, more than the total number deported by the previous 3 presidential administrations combined. Then he says he will now reject all Haitian, Cuban, and Nicaraguan asylum seekers who cross illegally, which, by the way, most people are forced to do that, but also he'll cap entry from those places and Venezuela at a total. He's deported about 40,000 people to Haiti amid a humanitarian crisis, cholera, and gang violence. So I just feel like it's really important, because liberals will point to Trump, and I agree, he is a vile racist. But let's not leave the Biden-Harris administration off.
Oh no, they should not be.
I know you, yeah, but like
one lick, and
so
even less off the hook should be progressives. From the start, I said Marianne Williamson is a lightweight. She believes whatever's in front of her until she gets educated on the situation. She's basically saying, well, Haitian voodoo is real and they do eat cats, and blah blah blah. She goes on to defend herself when people attack her, saying, I wasn't saying this story is real, but blah, blah, blah. But this is not an ally. She's a lightweight. I mean, she can be an ally in some areas, but she never should have sniffed the presidency.
Oh, really?
On air?
Excuse me?
There we go.
This is the first acknowledgement that it's our anniversary. Thank you, honey. That's very sweet. I love you too. I got him nothing. So at least that's very sweet. Thank you.
Josh gets tip. Send your tip to Josh.
That's very sweet. Those are beautiful. That's very nice. I mean, our fight on Friday night was bad. That's good. I deserve those letters. Okay. So yeah. Thanks, you guys. Josh, you're getting lots of nice comments in the chat. I know. Look at that, boy. Okay. Let's go back to by the way, this is like a fight tactic that we have. If I'm ever calling out the worst people in the world and we don't want to talk about bringing the receipts, he'll just kind of like do a and do something really sweet where you're kind of like, okay. All right. So I am now sharing the video here.
The only thing that I would say
that we don't get dinged. So I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. Whatever. All right. We were only 30 seconds in. Bear with this, please. It's enraging.
I think it's very dangerous rhetoric to say there are two sides of the same coin. I do think it's important for us to understand.
To the Democrats, yes.
I think it's dangerous to all of us, actually. I don't have that privilege.
We disagree.
I understand. We do on a lot, but we also agree on a lot. But here's one thing I think we can agree on. Either you win or lose this election. There's really no in between. Dr.
I don't agree with that.
In 2002, you ran for governor of Massachusetts, and you lost.
To me, that shows like major ignorance, right? No, there's other options. You don't.
You grow the party. You don't support genocide. You tell the Democrats this is not enough.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Because either way, Trump or what's her face, Kamala, we all lose. So yeah, there are other options.
Before you ran for state representative in Massachusetts, and you lost. In 2006, you ran for Secretary of the Commonwealth. You also lost. In 2010, you ran for governor again, this time against the first Black governor in Massachusetts, Deval Patrick. You lost. In 2012, you ran against this country's first Black president, and you got just less than 0.5% of total votes cast. In 2016, you ran against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, losing significantly with 1.4 million votes cast for you, but 0 electoral college votes, which I agree with y'all needs to be abolished. But 136 million people voted, and you lost that election as well. So I want to know what the pathway to victory is for you in 2024. It can't just be.
Now, I'd like to provide a different frame.
Shut your mouth. Watch your fucking mouth.
I want to provide.
And I also.
Can I respond, please?
And Kamala Harris supporter.
May I respond?
Bring it back.
May I respond?
Go ahead, Angela. Go ahead.
Well, I would like to respond. This is the framing of the empire and the oligarchy and white supremacy and colonialism, which wants you to feel that resistance is futile. This is about voter blaming and voter shaming.
Let me just What you're not going to say is that I'm ever parroting anything at the hands of white supremacy. This is something that's very different. This is me asking you again. It's a binary choice in an election. I'm just pointing out that
that's the one they took 17 seconds. Angela Rye did. And put that up. Like, I got her.
Zing, and they were all, you go girl, the same brat.
It is either a win or a lie. No, it's not
the same talking points that the DNC
I didn't get my talking
uses.
This is not DNC talking points. This is my research. And sadly for you, the research says you have never won an election. You have been successful in pushing forward certain agendas as an advocate, but you have never won an election as a candidate. Is that a winning strategy?
So in order to win, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And in this case, it's many steps. Let me point out, please, you need to compare the Green Party, not with those who are taking money from AIPAC and the War Machine and Wall Street. You've got to compare us, you have to compare us to other grassroots, non-corporate.
She told me I'm a white supremacist. She said I was parroting the talking points of a white supremacist.
See, that was my disappointment.
May I finish, please? May I get to my point? May I please get to my point?
We're actually going to let Dr. Stein and Angela Rye close it up.
Let me finish, please. Thank you. You're trying to compare us to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party with their billions of dollars, or to the Working Families Party, which is not under attack. As a people-powered party, not taking money from Wall Street or the War Machine or AIPAC, we are on very different turf. But if you compare us to all other similar parties, which are not taking corporate money, which are not bought and paid for, which can stand up against endless war, against homelessness, against the climate crisis, against the housing and the healthcare crisis. Campaigns like us, who can actually stand up for the people, they last exactly 1 to 2 election cycles, and then they're gone. So we are actually the pillar of strength among people-powered politics. And what have we done over that period? We have established the Green Party as the vehicle for people-powered politics. We have also launched the agenda, which has been adopted by the progressive Democrats, given lip service, not actually advanced. But whether you're looking at healthcare as a human right, launched by Ralph Nader as a national issue, reparations, launched by our campaign as a national issue in 2012. If you look at free public higher education, bailing out students and ending student debt, You had Congress bailing out the crooks on Wall Street who crashed the economy, but not bailing out homeowners, not bailing out students. That agenda was launched by us. So I think it's not fair, and it is the talking point of AOC the other day, who is taking her marching orders from the DNC. This is exactly what they say, that we are only running for president.
Of color as parroting talking points instead of us looking at basic math. The one thing that AOC has done that you haven't is win some elections. And so when I'm asking you if you've won any elections, that is one point. If you want to tell me that you want to push a more progressive agenda, if you want to talk about pushing a progressive agenda, you can do that, not by running necessarily for president. Your track record as a state rep candidate, as a secretary of the Commonwealth candidate, as a gubernatorial candidate, as a presidential candidate are woefully lacking.
I hear
so I'm
this,
asking if you consider going about it a different way instead of telling me I'm parroting white supremacist talking points.
So I can
Perhaps
tell you,
you'd hear the facts.
I
These
can
are
tell
the facts.
you,
The numbers are not on your side, right?
So Dr. Jill Stein, let's end with some closing remarks.
Yes.
On your campaign, and then the Honorable Angela Rye, you can end with your
I'm done.
remarks.
I've asked my questions.
Okay. So
honestly, she is so disgusting. Did not listen. The second she got cutting her off, the second that Jill Stein said, can I please talk? Handled herself so well. It became like a party. Everybody's talking. Nobody addresses the genocide or the fact that it is DNC talking points and the DNC is upholding white supremacy. What do you think it is when we have cop cities all over this country? What do you think it is when we have a colonial settler project in the Middle East with European Jews who are white who come in to take over land from brown people that we support and are now doing a genocide?
Wait, did we get
what?
Sorry.
Did I just get frozen?
I don't know, but I just looked at the chat and it said it.
Oh no. Are we done?
I don't know. Are we live, guys?
Can anybody see us? If not, okay, I'm gonna restart a new one. So I'm exiting and should I restart one or what should I do?
Yeah, we need a new one. They nixed us. Right. They nixed us for that.
All right. Will you do a tweet and I'm gonna do a new room? Okay.
Yeah, but I need the link, don't I?
No, because you'll do. Oh, okay. Yeah, give me a second because I have to leave the studio to do this. Okay.
Okay. Throw it in Twitter to me if you can.
Okay.